We're back for Your Ears Only. I'm David Alpern.
I'm Catherine Herzog with this news quote, "Flagrantly biased." That's how Syria's foreign ministry dismissed the efforts of the United Nations peace envoy Ladar Brahimi, reducing prospects of a diplomatic settlement of the civil war there. Also last week, rebel forces raided an important airbase, prompting the Assad regime to destroy its own aircraft rather than lose them to the rebels. And the UN called for more financial support for humanitarian assistance to Syrian refugees in Turkey and Jordan. Now this.
This represents a much larger presence for us at a Consumer Electronics Show. It's our way of showing off our new technology. With Uconnect, we have introduced new features, internet radio applications. We partner with the leaders in internet radio. In addition to that, on all the vehicles that you see here, we are introducing new navigation options where navigation can be added to the vehicle after the purchase of the vehicles.
It's that time of year again when the world's greatest tinkerers, thinkers, and technology leaders descend upon glitzy Las Vegas for the annual Consumer Electronics Show. Marios Zenios, head of Uconnect Systems and Services at Chrysler Group, was just one of an army of exhibitors, with more innovation than ever in the health and fitness arena. Not to mention the usual super TVs and household appliances that communicate.
Boston Globe technology reporter Hiawatha Bray covered every corner of this year's event, and for Your Ears Only, he joins us now. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I walked over just about every square inch, and I've got the square feet to prove it. It was massive. No, according to them, this was the biggest show they've ever done. They claimed that they had filled 1.9 million square feet. They moved into a larger venue. On the other hand, I got the distinct impression that fewer people showed up. It wasn't as crowded as it was last year. And it's part of the reason why, famously, Microsoft last year said that they were not going to have a major presence at this year's event, and they weren't going to do the keynote speech. And one of the reasons is that they were saying, CES is not what it once was in terms of the place where new products are rolled out. You don't get major new product announcements at CES very often because companies do it on their own schedule. Microsoft tends to roll out their really important new stuff in the late fall. So Apple will roll out stuff throughout the year, and Apple doesn't even bother with trade shows anymore. They just run their own events. Dell was invisible there. HP didn't have a booth there. More and more often, the world's biggest technology companies are saying, well, we really don't see the point in doing CES anymore.
Well, it seems that networked seemed to be a key theme for most everything at the CES this year, but you say simple Wi-Fi was actually hard to get at the event itself.
Oh, yeah, well, that's always true. Internet service is often hard to get, although the press room this year was much better than it usually was, at least the one at the main convention hall. The one at one of the auxiliary halls wasn't that good. There usually isn't good Wi-Fi, and in fact, they will often say, well, we want to demonstrate our product, but we need Wi-Fi to do it, and the Wi-Fi here is so jammed up with other people using it that it's going to be hard for us or for that matter, the noise. It is unbelievably noisy. And people are trying to demonstrate the growing array of products that are controlled with the human voice. And it won't work because it's so noisy. The product can't hear what you're saying.
Let's talk about some of those talking appliances. Do they talk to humans or to each other or to the operations that stock and service them?
Well, they're not really talking in vocal terms. What we're talking about here is something I wrote about, this growing movement, which you will hear referred to sometimes as the Internet of Things. A more technical term for it is machine-to-machine communication. Increasingly, what we're doing with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth technology is we're designing our machines to talk to each other about stuff that they think they need to know in order to do their jobs. And one of the coolest examples of this is from the appliance maker LG, where they will have a refrigerator that actually can talk to the stove. And it has a tablet, an Android tablet in the front door. You have to tell it what's in the refrigerator. You have to keep an inventory. But as you do that, it keeps track of what's in the refrigerator. It can send you email messages to remind you need to buy milk. And if you decide you want to make, baked chicken or something, you ask for the baked chicken recipe, and then you hit a button, and the data is sent to the stove, which automatically starts to heat the oven to the correct temperature.
But it's not communicating yet. It's not communicating yet with fresh, direct to order the milk that you forgot to order.
No, but in theory, there's no reason why I couldn't do that. If you hooked it up to a service like a Peapod or some other grocery delivery service, there's nothing to stop it from programming it to say, have milk delivered every week or something like that.
Fantastic.
So you could certainly do that. In the meantime, of course, LG makes televisions, and this is one of the most interesting applications of it. You have these appliances with smart TVs in the same household, and now when your dryer is finished drying the clothes, a message pops up on your TV. When the food is done on the stove, a message pops up on your TV. It's really quite amazing.
The CES always takes place after a season of holiday excess when people are more motivated than usual to lose weight and get healthy. Tell us about some of the new technology you saw that could help people meet their new fitness goals.
This was one of the biggest shows yet for what they call digital health. There is just an array of products out there that are designed to use the kind of sensors that were originally developed for the space program, so they can stick something on your body and measure your pulse, the amount of oxygen in your blood, your body temperature, all that kind of stuff. There are just hordes of these things, and they are to be used not only for people who are trying to stay fit, but also people who have medical problems to begin with and need constant medical tracking. By the way, this ties into the whole Internet of Things thing. One of the most interesting things in there are all the systems that are designed so that if you have an aging parent, you can give them a device which will keep track of their medical condition and can automatically warn somebody if something's wrong. There's a lot of companies selling stuff like that. ADT, the burglar alarm company has that. Lowe's, the home improvement stores, they're marketing stuff like that. It's all about these machines that can just automatically notice that something is going on and say, red alert, you've got to deal with something here.
For all the hype, you wrote a piece before the convention about many of the rollouts at last year's CES that didn't meet expectations. Well, what are the most dramatic examples of that?
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to be careful about this because some of these are products that may very well have a future, but others, well, you can just see they're never going to be everything people thought they were. The great example, and everybody was cracking jokes about it at the show, was 3D television. 3D TV is just, it works, and people are going to eventually have it because the electronics will ultimately be built into TVs as standard equipment. But right now, only about 2% of Americans have 3D-capable television sets. And it's easy to see why. There's not a lot to look at on 3D. And even if there were, how many programs are improved by seeing them in 3D? Hardly any. If you're looking at 2.5 Men, would that be better in 3D? Come on. It's a waste of time.
Boston Globe technology reporter Hiawatha Bray.
Quote from the news, useful idiots. That was Senator John McCain dismissing a visit to North Korea by Google Executive Chairman Eric Schmidt and former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson to check on an American imprisoned there and visit North Korean technology centers, giving what some saw as a boost to the stature of new leader Kim Jong-un.
Next, the Oscar nominations and some newer releases for your ears only.